It being 4 o'clock, the House will consider the paper petition signed by 10,000 or more persons listed on the business paper, which is regarding Save the $250 Regional Seniors Travel Card, lodged by the member for Northern Tablelands. I call the member for Northern Tablelands.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I'm very proud to stand here today to give a voice in this place to the many thousands of people that supported this petition throughout the Northern Tablelands for the reinstatement of the $250 Regional Seniors Travel Card, which since the year 2020 has provided some of the state's most vulnerable people a tangible and genuine hand up. And we all know, particularly on this side, but anyone in regional New South Wales knows how critical this card is at this moment in time in the midst of a crippling cost of living crisis. And it is extraordinary to think that despite before the March election promising, and I quote, to roll it over, that we should sit at the September budget and see this card absolutely ripped away out of the hands of nearly 1 million seniors across this state. Now, this petition attracted over 10,000 signatures in no time at all, and that's testament to the fact that seniors who enjoy this card are cranky. They are annoyed that something that they have not only utilised very successfully but have built into their household budgets over the last 3 years will next year be absolutely no more. And what was the reason for removing this card that was given? The spurious reason that seniors were rorting the card by buying cigarettes and junk food. But yet, despite that claim, the government has failed to produce one example from the 12,000 people in my electorate, the 1 million people across the state that have been utilising this card for 3 years, not one example where a senior has actually utilised the card for that purpose. So I call BS on that claim, and so do the people that signed this petition, because it is spurious. This was a decision made by Treasury, and now we've got to retrofit some spurious claim around it to sort of smear over the cracks in the wall to justify a cold, heartless decision that's been made, which will directly impact on the lives of a million seniors out there in regional New South Wales. For example, like Bruce from Glen Innes, who wrote to me very recently talking about how the card has helped he and his wife in Glen Innes. And he wrote, and I quote, "In one recent 10-day period, I had appointments to attend my Tenterfield GP for a regular consultation, Inverell radiology, and to Armidale to see a specialist. Following the scan, I needed to do a return trip to Tenterfield, hence medical trips amounting to 800 kilometres in that short time. My wife had a pre-arranged trip to Armidale for a medical appointment, so 1,000 kilometres, all told in 10 days. Quite a feat for a couple of octogenarians. The Regional Seniors Travel Card is clearly not a treat, but an essential part of our annual budget." And Paul from Armidale hit the nail on the head when he said, "I'm appalled by the discontinuation of the only benefit that we get to help us in regional areas where we don't have access to public transport to take us to the doctors and hospitals outside of our town. Imagine the uproar if they took away the pensioner discounts that the city pensioners are afforded on their huge transport offerings. Typical New South Wales, Newcastle, Sydney, Wollongong, we're just ignored in the country." Well, Paul, you're not wrong. And countless other seniors have written to me, as I'm sure other MPs, about the cards acting absolutely filthy. And some of them are tuning in today, like Sandra from Glen Innes, Stan from Gilgai, Rosalind Miller-Hardy from the wonderful Wanderer. And I hope you're enjoying what will be a very interesting debate. Now, many of them would have liked to have been here today and fill the gallery, but sadly the cost of travel from regional New South Wales to Sydney is expensive. If only there was a card to help them with the costs of getting down here into the gallery. But no, that's been taken away from them as well. This petition, Madam Deputy Speaker, sends a strong message to those opposite about just how important this card is and how it's become so important in stretching the meagre budgets of our seniors that little bit further to enable them to live a quality of life in regional New South Wales. I call on the government today to look within and see if that heart of stone that created that budget in September might soften just a little. Perhaps that introspection might even lead to the reversal of this decision and the reinstatement in the next budget next year to bring this card back. I implore the government to immediately reverse this decision, reinstate the card and give seniors in the bush something to celebrate this Christmas.
I thank the member for Northern Tablelands. I'll just let the members know we have now 4 speakers at 5 minutes. Then we have a minister and then a reply. So that's how it works. I call the member for Cessnock.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Hey, so when I was a kid growing up, I always thought you could only take something away if it existed. I thought that was just a really fundamental lesson that I learned pretty early on. And so I'm really glad.
Okay. Members to my left. Members to my left. Thank you. I know I understand your passion, and we're trying to be happy with felicitations. So let's just be quiet. Yeah. And thank you, member.
So I'm actually really, really happy that people are tuning in today because they're actually going to get told the truth, something that side over there hasn't been able to tell their communities. So for Sue and Sam and Will and Wes who are tuning in and everyone else who's tuned in, let me tell you this. The seniors travel card was not put into the budget, handed down.
Members to my left, members, especially the back row. Member for Ryde. That's loud.
Was not put into the budget, handed down by those opposite when they gave their last budget over the forwards. It was only provided to be funded during the previous financial year, not going forward. Now, they didn't put it in the budget on that occasion. That's opportunity number 1, and that's a fact. And no one over there can contest that. Opportunity number 2 was when they did their half-yearly budget review. If they realised their error, they could have put the money into the budget over the forwards at that second opportunity. They didn't do that, so the money still doesn't exist, and by this stage we're into November of 2022. That's another fact. No one can refute that. Opportunity number 3 was that there was a pre-election budget where if there were any variations or changes, that the government could have declared those at the time so that going into the election campaign everyone knew what was, not funded. They didn't do that. That's number 3, and that's a fact, and no one can refute that. And then number 4, so that all of the viewers out there know, in the lead up to the election you have to submit to the Parliamentary Budget Office all of your election promises and commitments, and those people opposite didn't put the seniors travel card into that either. Irrefutable.
Member for Upper Hunter.
Cannot
be
refuted.
Goodness me.
So within a period of 8 months, there was the budget, the mid-year budget, the pre-election budget review, and then the election costings. 4 opportunities to put the money in the senior travel card, and it was not put into any of those. So there was no money going forward as designed and dictated by the Liberal National Government who at the time had control of the finances of the state.
Members to my left. Members to my left, I hate to be the Grinch. Can we just stop the clock from... I'm sorry, I don't want to take it. Because there is the list of people who are already on a call, and I'd hate to do that today. So help me out by just being quiet and being lovely. Thank you, Member for Cessnock.
As I was saying, there's 4 opportunities to put in the budget which you didn't do. So there was no money going forward. That is an irrefutable fact. And I know that that's sad for some people, but it's a fact, okay? Now, to be fair to the members opposite, I don't think any of them were in Treasury at the time. And so when they were told that the money was there to go and campaign on it, in good faith they probably did that. And in fact, I think the National Party got made up like some...
Member for Kiama. Now, members to my left, please. Thank you.
And I think that the National Party members, to their credit, because they've been told by their bosses that, the money was there, I think they went and got like some little pretend credit card things and they campaigned using those saying, the National Party have committed to this. Big ones, well, they big ones.
Members to my left again. Members to my left. Members to my left, thank you. Can I just stop the clock for one more second? Thank you. There are people here that are already on calls, and more than one, so I would rather not do this today.
Can I just say to you, I sat there in silence listening to the member for
Thank you,
Tablelands.
and thank you for, yes, you did, so, but which is...
Don't cry, Chloe.
So for all the viewers out there, all those viewing, listening, watching, the truth is that sadly there were National Party members out there campaigning that they were going to deliver something that they had deliberately left out of the budget, and they didn't know. So don't go too hard on them when they return to your electorate. But their leadership should have let them know the money did not exist in the budget going forward. And none of them have refuted that, and they can't. So please, guys, let's just be honest. Of course the seniors enjoyed it, but you didn't put in the budget, so there was nothing to be taken out.
Thank you. Before I... thank you for the commentary from my left. Before I call the member for Oxley, I would like to welcome from in the gallery, from Kempsey Shire Council, the director, place that I really enjoyed living, and I welcome Daniel Thorogood. So I hope you enjoy this wonderful experience of the New South Wales Parliament. And when we're all quiet, thank you, I'll call the member for Oxley.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. And as the newest member in here, I've had some lessons to learn. And you know the number one lesson I've learned already is since Labor came to power, what have they done? They've cut. You see, what did they do with active kids vouchers? They cut. Or, importantly today, the regional seniors travel card. Cut.
Can we stop the clock, please? This is not call and response afternoon. So can we just be quiet? Thank you.
Now, I am a quiet guy. Okay, so I'm respectful, reasonable and practical most of the time, but I get riled up by a lack of transparency and fairness. And that's exactly how this feels. You know, I've had so many people come into my office complaining about the taking away of the regional seniors travel card. It's been really, really difficult. That's 25,244 members in Oxley that use the card. 4,753 eligible seniors in the Kempsey local government area had some financial freedom. It put less pressure on 3,604 seniors in the Nambucca area. Or it helped 1,580 that reside in Bellingen. And what about the member for Port Macquarie and myself? We share a border, and in Port Macquarie Hastings Council, that gave 15,307 members or constituents, that gave them some hope. Now, I said I was speaking about fairness, so let me speak about it. In the city, you not only have the train, the bus, the ferry, you've also got Ubers and cabs on numbers, okay? Now, how fortunate is it to be able to travel for $2.50 a day on all those trains, all those buses, all those light rail, the ferries? In our regions, we might get a cab if we're lucky. Our oldies are isolated already, and when I read the Transport New South Wales website, it's a slap in the face for our oldies. It says to them that they deserve the best transport discounts around. Okay? They don't have those services, let alone the electronic technology to accept an Opal card. And what does the government do? What did they do to the regional seniors travel card? They cut it. And what was their response? What's Labor's response? It's a shopper docket scheme. 4 cents a litre, but, hang on a minute, that's only if you have a United service station in your town. Some of mine don't. In fact, there's only 3 spread throughout all the major towns. But let's go one step further. Imagine you lived in Maxville. Their United has been shut down for refurbishment since before the scheme started. And guess what? It still is. Now, it would cost more than what they saved if they had to travel to Kempsey or Coffs to fill up on fuel. That's just crazy.
Labournomics.
How far does that... Hang on. How far does that 4 cents go? Well, to get an equivalent $250 worth, that would be 2 tanks a week, or 60,000 odd Ks a year. And I don't know a single regional senior that travels that far. The Minns Labor government is treating our regional seniors as second rate. What would you do if I gave you an ultimatum to buy food and eat, or to go to a doctor's appointment? Well, for many of my constituents, that is not a choice. And the Regional Seniors Travel Card gave them a small reprieve. It allowed them to travel, to see their grandchildren, attend a doctor's appointment, or participate in community events. I'm a sportsman. If there was a gold medal race for parity between electorates at the Olympics, Western Sydney would win hands down. The inner west, that'd take silver. And guess what? The rest of Sydney takes bronze. Where would you find our regional seniors? Well, in this example, they weren't even allowed to run. That's how they are being treated. And I say to the Minns Labor government, make it right, have a heart and stop being stingy. Let our seniors in on the party and have some Christmas spirit. Let's get them back out there, enjoying company, attending medical appointments, seeing their grandchildren's sport, plays and school fetes. Bring back the Regional Seniors Travel Card and stop the cuts.
I thank the member for Oxley and I call the member for South Coast.
Thank you, Madam Assistant Speaker. When the Minns government came to office in March this year, imagine the horror we discovered that due to the financial mismanagement of the previous coalition government, we inherited the biggest debt the state of New South Wales has ever had, a whopping $187 billion. But, Madam Speaker, it gets worse. As we went line by line through the books, we discovered more and more unfunded programs and budget black holes. And sadly, the Seniors Regional Travel Card joined a number of others that were entirely unfunded or only partially funded by those opposite.
Members to my left.
In total,
Pittwater and member
in
for
total, the
Parramatta.
previous government spent nearly $500 million on travel cards that could have been spent on our local roads. The
Can we
roads
just
all
stop
over
the clock?
state
I'm
that
sorry.
are falling to
Member for
pieces
South
because
Coast
of
for
you.
a second.
No,
I've
Madam
stopped the clock.
Speaker.
I've stopped the clock. Members to my left and member for Parramatta, let's be quiet, please. Allow the member to continue quietly. Thank you. Continue.
Now, Madam
Thank you.
Assistant Speaker, when the travel card was first launched, besides not accounting for it in the budget, the Coalition also obviously forgot to undertake due diligence and ensure that they had an acceptable eligibility criteria. In fact, they thought it appropriate to leave out senior veterans and people on a disability or carers pension until this side changed that. They also thought it was appropriate that self-funded retirees on an income of $95,400 for if you were single, or $152,640 a year if you were a member of a couple, should be eligible for a $250 card. I have families with mortgages living on the South Coast that do not...
Thank you. Can we stop the clock, please? Member for Oatley, you've just walked in the door and talked the minute you came into the chamber. I should put you on the call, but I'm in a good mood. So the next time you talk again, you will be on a call. Now, thank you. And don't be mean, guys. So can we just... Thank you. Very. Continue, please.
I have families with mortgages living on the South Coast that do not earn that amount of money each year. This card was just plain unfair and a rort. It was not directed at the people that really needed it. In fact, those in most need of the support did not even know about it. And let's not forget the card itself. Even if there was 50 cents left on that card, the fee charged by the bank was $2 every month. Even Prue Carr can add that figure up. It's an awful lot of money making profit for a bank.
Okay, can we stop the clock, please? Thank you. I just, for the member, member for South Coast, we've just stopped the clock. Member for Terrigal, I'll remind you, you're on 2 calls, and I wouldn't like you to be on a third. So if we could be quiet, I'll just remind the people who are here, member for Terrigal's on 2 calls, the member for Pittwater's on 1, the member for Oatley's on 1, and I think that's all that are here, but I don't want to add to this list. I am trying to be kind, but you're not helping me, so be quiet, please. Continue. Thank you.
In the first budget delivered by the Minns government, we've set out to address these inequities to ensure that those most in need of our communities across all of New South Wales get the support they require. The government has introduced additional cost of living supports for everyone in New South Wales, including the energy bill relief with a $500 electricity rebate for eligible families, pensioners, low-income households, veterans, carers and self-funded retirees. We've increased the low-income household rebate and the medical energy rebate and increased the value for each equipment type up to $1,639 under the life support rebate. And for those travelling longer distances for medical appointments, claims can be made from the isolated patients travel scheme. And when I let my constituents know of these initiatives, they realise they are better off and so are their families. The Minns government is also getting on with the job and doing the work to fix our roads.
Member for Coffs Harbour.
With $390 million in funding for urgent road repairs and maintenance through the Regional Emergency Road
Tablelands.
Repair Fund. Funding that will flow on equally to all councils on a per kilometre basis rather than sprinkling funds out for our mates. Our funding initiatives are about ensuring support for those that really need it, get it, no matter where you live, while also ensuring the roads used by regional communities daily are safe, reliable and efficient and usable. The Minns Labor government is getting this state back on track. We're supporting people right across the state. We are fixing our roads, we are supporting our workers and we are slashing the debt left by an irresponsible coalition government that could not manage the economy.
Thank you. I thank the member for South Coast and I call the member for Kiama.
Can I start by thanking the member for Northern Tablelands for bringing this petition, and I'd like to also acknowledge the Kiama constituents that have contributed some petitions towards this particular petition. And I also indicate I'd like to thank the many members of my community that have actually collected lots of signatures towards this. And I want to name in particular Margot Johnson, who sat out the front of Woolworths, sat in Berry and collected signatures. And I'm really pleased to be following the member for South Coast, because it seems the member for South Coast says one thing in her electorate, but another thing in Parliament. Because when the member for South Coast was approached by constituents complaining about the regional seniors travel card, you know what she told them to do? Go and sign the member for Kiama's petition.
Please stop the clock. Please stop the clock.
She said her constituents
Please stop the
to sign
clock.
my petition.
Please
She
stop the
told
clock.
her constituents
Stop the
that
clock.
she was a
Stop the clock. Member.
being caught out.
Member for Kiama, you're going very red. I'll just wait. Can I wait till the members from my left calm down, please? Particularly you, member for Kiama, you are on a call, and I will put you on another one. And next time you start referring to people, you refer to them by their electorate, not a she. No, you started calling the member a she, and that wasn't appropriate. So I just ask you to just be mindful. Member, you're rising on a call, the member for the entrance.
My point of order is the member for Kiama. He does this time and time again. He gets up and he makes attacks on members opposite, personal attacks, and he fails to address the issue. And I know you brought him in line.
Thank you.
I asked you to bring him in line again.
Thank you. I haven't called you back yet. Member for Kiama, just take a seat, please. Yep. No. And let's not resort into nastiness. I understand. Let's not do that. Okay, let's just report on the $250 and the nature of the petition, not personal stuff. Thank you. I call back the member for
I'll tell you what's
comment.
nasty, Madam Speaker, is going to an election saying that you would keep a card and then lying to regional seniors and cutting the card. Your leader said that he would roll this card over. And the member for South Coast has been caught out telling her constituents one thing, her and her electorate, and doing another thing in Parliament. Where's the member for Bega? Where are the other regional members? If they truly believe in this initiative, as they tell their constituents and their electorates they do, why aren't they in Parliament defending this or taking this up? Because clearly they speak out of both sides of their mouth. And I am here to support my regional seniors that are really doing it tough. If you actually speak to regional seniors, they'll tell you how hard they're doing it with cost of living, everything going up. People are struggling in my electorate, and I hear members opposite talking about or laughing about the fact that regional seniors in Kiama are struggling. Well, yes, they are. People are struggling right across this state. And I'm not going to single out anyone's electorate, but I'll say that this has been felt in my electorate very hard. And I just want to read onto the record some of the things that have been sent to me about this. Alma McPherson from Gerringong said that this regional seniors card is especially important to those of us who are older members of the public who live in outlying areas where public transport is minimal and difficult to access. Most of my appointments are in Nowra, Wollongong, but sometimes in Ultimo and Royal North Shore. Kathy Banks said during 2023, I've used the Regional Seniors Travel Card not only for visits to specialists and allied professionals, but also other specialists in Nowra, but also for trips to Wollongong, which are far away. Things like MRI and other specialist appointments were needed. The Regional Seniors Travel Card has been a tremendous help to me. I've had other constituents tell me about how they've needed this card to visit their grandchildren, how they've needed this support for chemotherapy and radiation therapy. And this card is being taken away from a government that went to an election and promised to retain it. They made that very clear at the election. And it seems that the only people that they want to hand this card out to now is the press gallery. Yeah. That's the only people they're giving it to, and for the benefit of those that are following at home, because I know there are thousands of people watching this debate right now, watching the contribution from the knuckle draggers opposite, Madam Speaker. They're listening. They're listening to the lies.
Thank you.
The lies that this government is telling in relation to this.
And member, I didn't appreciate that terminology. Thank you for saying.
I withdraw the term.
Thank you. I
but
appreciate
I have
that.
to say it's reflective of how angry our communities are when we see stunts like that we saw with a card being given to a journalist to buy a meat pie and Winnie Blues, and suggesting that regional seniors are using and abusing a card like that was a smear on every regional senior, and that's why people were particularly angry. I've had people in tears in my office because of cost of living pressures that are real. This decision has hurt people. There were people who voted Labor thinking that this card would be continued. And every single one of you that are a regional Labor MP who told your community that this card would continue, and it hasn't, have lied to your communities, you have misled your communities, and these communities will not forget. They will not forget the way in which you have misled them, and particularly when you've got members like the member for South Coast saying in her electorate that I am supporting the retention. Oh, so you don't support the... So can we just get it clear? Do you or do you not support the Regional Seniors Travel Card? Do you or do you not support it? Do you or do you not support it?
Let's stop the clock,
You
please.
said you
Thank
support it. Well, your whole speech was about how you didn't support it.
Member for Kiama, that is just not appropriate, pointing a finger and leaning over like that. That's very confronting. I find it confronting. Yep.
And I ask you to control him. He continues to attack a neighbouring member, as he has done before. That's his pattern.
Yep.
A new member, trying to belittle them,
Thank you,
trying to intimidate them.
Yes.
It is really inappropriate.
I uphold your point of order.
On this side, we were quiet when new members were speaking. We were quiet when new members were speaking.
Thank you. Before you rise, just take a seat, gentlemen, please. Quiet, please. Thank you. I uphold the point of order to the extent that I felt that behaviour was very aggressive. So just be careful, and I ask you to be mindful of the way that you approach this. We're in a chamber.
I am just simply reflecting the anger of my electorate, particularly when things are being said in this chamber, but also being done differently outside of it. And I don't think that my anger is any different from regional seniors around the state that were told one thing at an election, but when they got into government They did something entirely different. And that doesn't matter whether it's the Premier, right through to your members. You told a lie.
Thank you. Thank you. We're back to the Minister. Are you? And
Contribution.
I think that...
Is leave granted?
So
you're not going to grant me leave?
It's,
You are totally gutless. Here you go. You don't want to have the debate.
Can we,
and you are
we
a classic
take a
example
seat?
of not speaking up for your electorate in the entrance bar.
First of all, member for Terrigal, thank you. Members, what is happening? Can everyone sit down, please, for a minute? I haven't called anyone, nor the minister yet. I'll just check with the clerk about can members seek leave, and then if they can seek leave, but you need the approval. So, well, I cannot talk to 4 people standing at a time. Make a choice about whom that is. Member, could you sit down because I think other people are seeking leave. Member for Wallandilly. Member for Wallandilly has sought leave to speak. Is leave granted? No, sorry. Member for Clarence. Member, is leave granted? No. I think this is becoming a... No. Yeah, please.
Speaker, I had actually sought the call to speak in reply, and I was up before all of these other members.
Yeah.
Member,
sit down. What's your point?
Actually, to the point of order. The minute that the minister speaks, that ends the debate. So if members are seeking leave to speak, they're entitled to do that before the minister speaks to end the debate.
Thank you. I was well aware of that, member for Kama. This is the last person. I'm sorry. I'm not even going to entertain anybody else who asked for the call. You are the last person to speak. No. And then, and that's my choice. Speaker, that's why I'm at the speaker.
On behalf of the 10,000 senior citizens, senior travel card holders in my electorate, I seek leave to make a contribution to this petition debate.
Is leave granted? No. Okay, I'm going to call... No, thank you. I've made a decision. I'm calling the minister. Thank you. No, you can... I have made a decision and I'm not going to change my mind. That's why I'm in the chair. Please take a seat, and I've called the minister. Thank you. Take a seat. Thank you. Thank you. I call the minister. Take a seat, please. Minister.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise to speak in...
If it's about the... Thank you. Can we stop the clock, please? If it's about the requests, I'm not going to...
The minister no longer be heard.
Okay. The question is that the minister no longer be heard. I shall put the question. All of those in favour, please... Oh, sorry. I will just check with the clerk before that... I beg your pardon. I just... reference from the clerk. Members, I cannot hear the clerk. If you would just sit down quietly, thank you. The question is that the member no longer be heard, and I'm going to put the question. All of those in favour say aye. Aye. Against say no. Division has been called. Please ring the bells.
Bit of Christmas fun, Daniel? Bit of Christmas fun?
and I appoint the tellers, the member for Terrigal and the member for Coffs Harbour as tellers for the eye, and I call them appoint the member for Leppington and the member for Lismore as tellers for the nose.
I just mentioned you in Parliament. I just mentioned you in Parliament. Oh, no, I said we share a border and 15,307 seniors, you know, that was fun. That was my first smashing up. Good to see you over here, Helen.
Oh, you know, occasionally.
No, I mean, I hate this. This is not a level playing field. I've got a fairness conflict. But you have to have an opportunity that's around about fair. Like you guys have got not just the buses, the trains, the trams. I'll get converted. But even the technology on our buses and stuff you can't tap. So we can never get the open function right. That's 250. You guys get $2.50 gets us.
Please stop the clock. Close the doors. Whoops. I'll get there in a minute. Janelle.
Or as you get older, your grandkid, or you want to go somewhere. If you want to volunteer, throwing food to make the meals. But it's not like they don't get the seconds from Woolies, right? And they volunteer every dollar they have. My mum's a branch member, so at least I know she gets a give them what they grow, to make these meals. And I think you're right. Might cover, you know, 10 or 15 taxis. It was only $10 a taxi, and it just takes that, it robs them. It is truly. This is one of the worst things.
So, which is there being 37 votes for the ayes and 47 votes for the noes, I declare the motion defeated. If the members would like to take a seat, then I will call the Minister, who has, I think, about 2 minutes and 50 seconds left.
Thank you,
just give it a wait for a little bit, Minister, until there's a bit of quiet for you. Could we quickly, if you are leaving the chamber, do so quickly and quietly, please. Quickly and quietly. Quiet, please. Thank you.
I don't know, they've asked me 15.
Okay, thank you. Quiet, please. If you are going to have a conversation, leave the chamber right now. Thank you. Member for Kira and others. Please take a seat immediately, members, or leave the chamber. Thank you. Make a choice. I call the Minister and member for Maitland.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I'm pleased to be able to have this opportunity at last. During this whole year we've been in, or these 8 months we've been in government, those opposite have sought to pretend the fiction that they had funded this card. And as the member for Cessnock quite rightly says, you cannot cut what's not there. It wasn't in the budget, it wasn't in the PBO costings, they had not put it in the forwards, and yet they come to this place and say that it was to be cut. You can't cut what is there. Now the budget estimates a lot. Madam Speaker, can you stop the clock? Madam Speaker. So during budget estimates, it was clearly said that by the departmental bureaucrats that merchant codes there was evidence they had been changed. There was evidence there had been fraud in this parliament. And the other thing that we have to remember is that it was the Labor opposition then who actually asked for this to be rolled out to veterans.
Can we just stop the clock again? I'm sorry. There is too much noise in the chamber. If you wish to talk, please leave the chamber. Remind the members for Terrigal that you are already on 2 calls and there are others, so be quiet, please. Member for Coffs Harbour, I've seen you acting with better behaviour before. Member.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It was veterans, carers, disabilities added by Labor advocacy on this. Now, what have we replaced this $390 million?
Stop the clock, please. Look, member for Chenworth. Thank you, Miss. I'm going to have to put you on a call if you are not quiet. Thank you very much. I would really appreciate that happen for everyone. Member, continue, please, in silence for everyone else, please.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Look, those opposite have got such a gall in coming to this place. The $390 million that they spent in 4 years to people on pensions of $95,000 or $152,000 for a couple, while we had roads where people were losing their cars, where axles were being broken, where tyres were being broken, where they could no longer get to work.
Member, be quiet, please, for a minute. Right, I'm going to put the member for Upper Hunter and the member for Dubbo, who is already on 3 calls. I will ask you to leave the chamber shortly. I'm just warning you, gentlemen. Be quiet, please. Please be quiet. This is the last time I'm warning. Next is calls. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. So the goal of those opposite, $390 million out the door over 4 years. We have rolled out $390 million just this year to fix the roads that those seniors have been using so that their cars are not damaged, so their cars can happen. And the problem is there is no cohesive, comprehensive concessions in this state because it's all about just buying votes. And ask the member for Wagga Wagga. Ask him what he faced at the ballot box by people with fake cards turning up, pretending that they were going to give it. And if you want to know, their people know this because we had the member for Northern Tablelands talking about the injection of extra funding from this government, improving safety for motorists and all road users, making it easier to get to Walker's primary produce market. You don't believe me? Have a look at that article there. And then what about the member for Cootamundra? Significant step towards ensuring the safety and convenience of our community members. They know that what they did was give up on travel in the regions to the detriment of our seniors. We will improve those networks, we will improve those roads, and we will not fall victim to your lies.
I thank the member for Maitland and Minister, and I call the, in reply... No, I haven't called you yet, so just wait. I'm just waiting for calm so that you can be heard in silence. So if you wish to leave the chamber, do so quietly, and let's stop talking, please. Thank you. Bit disappointed in a few people's behaviour today, I've got to say. Let's just sit down and be quiet. Thank you. Just waiting for people to take a seat and be quiet, so then we can continue, please. I'm sorry, I'll wait till there's a bit of everyone seated. Okay, thank you. I call the member for Northern Tableland in reply.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Well, thank you everyone for participating. One of the more spirited petition debates I've been part of, and a great way to end the parliamentary year. But there you have it, everyone watching at home. You've heard the debate, but you haven't really heard anything about why this card was taken away. Not even an acknowledgement that it will actually increase the cost of living pressures. It all boils down to you didn't deserve it because it was a waste of money that other people shouldn't have had. It was a rort. Again, no proof that anyone has been rorting the program, or it wasn't in the forwards. But no explanation as to why a commitment that was made by their leader, the now Premier, to roll the card over was reversed. Why was the decision changed? Well, hang on. The member for Shell Harbour's all chatty now. Where was her contribution to the debate? Denied leave for everyone to talk on this side, but not willing to make a contribution.
Yes, thank you.
You don't get a chance to interject
Thank you. Through the chair, member for Shell Harbour and the associates, and the members to my right, be quiet. Thank you. Member, sorry, continue. Be quiet.
The sad reality is, Madam Deputy Speaker, is this was a cold, heartless decision made by toe cutters within Treasury that now, and I feel sorry for the Minister because I actually have a lot of respect for this Minister. She has been sent out here, set up by the Premier and the Treasurer to try and defend the indefensible, to possibly cut short a promising ministerial career on a decision which many on that side do not agree with. They will come to regret, and seniors in regional New South Wales will never, ever forget. They had a chance today to stand in this place and give regional seniors a bit of Christmas cheer, something to celebrate, some hope before Christmas, and once again their hopes were crushed. The cost of living poured and heaped on them.
Thank you, member. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Okay, the question is that the House take note of the petition. All of that opinion, please say aye. Aye. To the contrary, no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it.